Oh, um, like if YouTube it. Yes, it is. Okay. Hey guys, I'm a little bit late today. Got pretty upset. Let me see. Minimize that and a bit tiny. Okay, better. Okay, here we go. So I let me see. I right. I didn't stream. Do how do I do that? Hey Evelyn. Hi. Yeah, it's nice seeing you. I just started a stream. I started a bit late. Um, I was making a YouTube video for like 4 hours from the mafia, the mafia, the old country. Uh, quick look yesterday that I showed on stream, and the audio was all messed up because like the volume for the browser window and YouTube was way high and my volume was low, and I thought I could just fix it in like post, and I tried to fix it and I just couldn't fix it. Maybe there's a way to fix it that I just don't know, but I couldn't fix it. So I 4 hours of work. I just said I can't upload this. Yeah, well, yeah. It takes a bit for me to edit. Editing takes a while, and I'm not even like doing like super like high end editing or anything like that. But eventually, like I think that my YouTube channel is gonna get good enough that I'm gonna be able to maybe one day. I don't know when that's gonna be, but maybe one day afford editors, and then once I have somebody that can edit some of my stuff for a few people, then it's gonna be great. Because I want it to be kind of like Asmongold's stream where he and like Tectone and a lot of people actually like a bunch of streamers do this now where they stream, for hours, and then then they upload like different pieces of the stream as different videos on YouTube, right? But that's a lot of videos you have to make, right? If you think about it, and just doing that all on your own is sucks. Plus, my hands are kind of like my wrists are kind of messed up, so I can't really edit for too long. Otherwise, I would have been like editing hardcore. There's some videos that I have. There's one video I had on the PlayStation 5 on my channel. I think it's the one that shows up. It's the one that shows up like when you go to my page and starts playing by itself. That video took a lot of editing for me, and like it's all fully like super polished, super good. The only thing that's not great is my sound because at the time I my mic was kind of funny. Um, but yeah, that video was super good, and like it messed up my hands, and I couldn't do any more. So that's why I started getting quote lazy with my the rest of the videos because I can't edit for that long. But once I get an editor, it's gonna be like it's gonna be game time. So I'm supposed to be setting this up here. How do I? Oh, I think I know how to do this. Oh yeah. Oh wow, you did it. You did it. Okay, okay, I see. I was trying to figure out how to do it for Twitch. Okay, I see. I figured it out. I figured it out. Yeah, there. It's enabled on Twitch. Um, yeah, man, I was really upset because like I had to throw that video. I'm essentially, I mean, but I mean, it's still there. I could just, I could just upload it, but I don't want to upload it because it sounds kind of bad. It just feels like you kind of wasted my time. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, yeah. Um, I don't think it matters for YouTube. YouTube is the one that I have the least people come in. Like people, it's really hard to get like people coming in your stream on YouTube because like your stream competes with like regular videos. I guess in YouTube it would have to be like subscriber mode, something like that. But yeah. Um. Yeah. So I actually like went and like figured it out, and now I have it so that my audio is separated. My microphone audio is separated, and like my actual like streaming audio from like watching a YouTube video or something or on Twitter or something like that, that's separated. So now there's gonna be no issues. I went and figured that out, so that's never gonna happen to me again. I learned from that one. Yeah, so I mean, and the other thing is that I watched this video about the Punisher yesterday, and that's gonna be messed up too. That sucks. So it's basically work that I threw away. But yeah, oh, gotta get out of here. This thing. No, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I got it fixed. I got it fixed. For now on, it's good. I technically have a lot of experience editing because this isn't my first YouTube channel, but you know, just can't edit for too long, which makes it I have to kind of release videos like that. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Adobe? No, I don't use Adobe because you gotta like pay a subscription for Adobe. I use DaVinci Resolve, which is free, and it's got all the features basically. There's a pro version, but the pro version is not necessary for like YouTube work. It's more like for like I don't know, like working on movies and like TV shows. Yeah, DaVinci Resolve is really good. Like it's incredibly powerful. You can basically do everything on it, and you don't even have to pay a dime. It's crazy. Um, yeah. So like, man, and we watched half of that video with the Punisher, but the other half is wasted because it's the audio was messed up. Today I'm gonna be making sure that when I watch something, that my audio is more aligned. That my yeah, like the sound of it is more aligned with the microphone. Um, so yeah, I thought I'd talk about some video games. I don't know. I'd rather watch like a video about this. I don't really have a video preset up. Um, should I do this? this video too that I saw. This one is also boss. Okay, go to YouTube. Really sure. Let me take a look here at the legal mindset. I did wanted to watch a video about this stuff. I go to my You know what? Maybe I will watch this CoffeeZilla video. Voidzilla. That and this thing that happened here with the flood, that was freaking terrible. 31 minutes ago. You know what? I think we'll watch that. Okay. I mean, you know what? Oh, there's gonna be a Moana too? Or that already came out. That already came out. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that was a thing. Moana too? Yeah. So I think I will watch this here. You know what? Let's watch this. No, this is old. Screw it. Let's watch this here. Well, Hassan's face doesn't even look like Hassan. I wonder if this is like AI or something. Diddy. Maybe this too. I guess these are games that you can play online. I've never even seen. Dubs. Should I watch it? Man, maybe I should. Okay, yeah, and I'll watch this. I wanted to watch. So I haven't covered much video game stuff here, so I wanted to do that. So done with Xbox. Okay, you know what? Let's do that. You know, okay. I think I'm just gonna watch these videos. I'm gonna start with the Xbox One. React to this video because Xbox has been going through some stuff recently. They've had layoffs for geez, like 2 years straight worth of layoffs, and they've lost a lot of people. I think the total count. I think the total count is it something like in a year or is it this year? The total count is like 15,000 people that they've lost. So um, yeah, it's a mess. Um, the reason, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and start watching this and let's see what he has to say. And then I'll that's weird that it's only 1440p. Usually they upload either 4K or 1080p. And people should stop uploading at 1080p by now. Like it looks so bad.
There is an air of
I gotta make sure I check my audio
hopelessness around Xbox that is quite different from any other hopelessness we've experienced with this brand before. And I'm even talking back to the Xbox One days. Like this is to me far worse because Xbox was playing with far much more and had way more potential and has fumbled it every single step of the way. That hopelessness also carries into the expectation that Xbox and Microsoft aren't done with.
So I am gonna have to pause this because I'm testing out the audio here. I think it's loud for that this is. Let me put this at 11. Maybe 10. Screw it. Let's go to 10. See what 10.
There is an air of hopelessness around Xbox that is quite different from any other hopelessness we've experienced with this brand before. And I'm even.
Okay, let's try 8. Maybe this is the way. Volume at.
Talking back to the Xbox One day. There is an air of hopelessness around Xbox that is quite different from any other hopelessness we've experienced with this brand before. And I'm even talking back to the Xbox One days. Like this volume is check, to me far worse because.
Right. Let's try 6. I don't want to overdo it, but
Xbox was playing with far much more and had way more potential and has fumbled it every single step of the way. That hopelessness also carries into the expectation that Xbox and Microsoft aren't done with layoffs.
Okay, let's try 5. I'm so bad at this stuff. I don't want to overdo it. It's the thing. Maybe you know what? Let's try 4. Let's see how 4 looks. 4.
There is an air of hopelessness around Xbox that is quite different from any other hopelessness we've experienced with this brand before. And I'm even talking back to the Xbox One days. Like this is to me far worse because Xbox was playing with far much more and had way more potential.
Right, 2.
There is an air of hopelessness around Xbox that is quite different from any other hopelessness we've experienced with this brand before. And I'm even talking back to the Xbox One days. Like this is to me far worse because Xbox was playing with far much more and had way more potential and has fumbled it every single step of the way. That hopelessness also carries into the expectation that Xbox and Microsoft aren't done with layoffs. We're all left sitting here wondering how.
I'm ready to watch. Okay, ready to watch. Let's go. Okay. Back to this. So Xbox has been going through a lot of issues in the past. Man, I don't know. It's been like a couple years now. And I mean, you could go back to the Xbox One release and when they announced that there would be no use games, that the console was going to be digital only. That's really what killed them. But even now, they're still suffering and they're still fumbling. Let's check out this video and see exactly why.
There is an air of hopelessness around Xbox that is quite different from any other hopelessness we've experienced with this brand before. And I'm even talking back to the Xbox One days. Like this is to me far worse because Xbox was playing with far much more and had way more potential and has fumbled it every single step.
Oh yeah, they're so much bigger now.
That hopelessness also carries into the expectation that Xbox and Microsoft aren't done with layoffs. We're all left sitting here wondering how teams like Compulsion Games will fare over the next year. They just dropped South of Midnight. That wasn't a mega hit. Are you really going to pay to keep them around?
No. And in this game, South of Midnight, man, this game.
Next year, they just dropped South of Midnight. That wasn't a
I don't know. Like I wanted to really think that it was cool. I like the idea of like they had like the whole stop motion thing where the characters move of like this kind of like it's like you know like a stop motion camera. And but in the end of the game, it just ended up looking laggy. It ended up looking like low FPS because, you know, video games are not movies. They're interactive. And they had settings in the game to try to make it so it's not as bad. But it just, I don't know. I don't think it worked that well. I think that's something that's really hard to nail. And this isn't the first game to try this. But outside of the whole stop motion thing, the game just didn't look that interesting. It had some interesting music. The combat looked really, really basic. And I don't know. I don't feel like you look at a game like this, it just doesn't feel like something that's going to really draw in a lot of people. So I'm not surprised. You know, it almost seems like a artsy game, but I don't know. I mean, is this really what Xbox? I mean, Xbox bought this studio so they could make good games. Is this really what they were going for? I don't know.
mega hit. Are you really going to pay to keep them around?
And critics wise, it wasn't really that. It wasn't like this was like a 90 Metacritic or anything like that. So not even critics were crazy about this game. I don't think it's a bad game. It's just I don't know. It's not enough.
When you just shut down studios that could have delivered more prolific games like Perfect Dark and The Initiative or
Oh
Rare
man,
with Everwild,
I was so excited for this for Perfect Dark. Like they had that
more
demo.
prolific games like
Yeah,
Perfect.
this demo that they had here, it was something like I don't know. They had like 3 minutes of footage, and they played. It was a whole level that they played through, and some people were running around online and saying, "Hey, actually, that was fake. That was a fake demo." Well, no, that's not how it works. It wasn't like all made up. This wasn't like all pre-rendered or anything like that. That was really running on real hardware. What it is that it's what devs called a vertical slice. And this is kind of like it's a little bit more of an old school term, even though it still exists today. I mean, when Sony first showed off the first God of War, God of War 2018, for the PlayStation 4, what they showed off at E3, that was a vertical slice. That wasn't the actual game. And so what developers do is that they start working essentially on making this what the game is going to look like, right? Like how do we feel the game is going to play, and we're going to just make essentially a level, and it's going to be very disconnected, and it's not the actual game, right? It's almost like smoke and mirrors, and it's like just like it's not like as soon as you step out of like if you try to like just walk around and explore anything that the devs didn't really intend to show in that original showing, right, at E3 or whatever, the whole thing breaks, right? So it's not a real game. It's more of a display of what can be done, but it is running on real hardware. It is real gameplay. It's just, you know, it's very smoke and mirrors because the devs are still working on making the real game. And they need to have something right now that they can show off as what the game will look like, because game development takes so long that you need to wait a long time for a game to be in development for a long time to be able to actually show something that's presentable. That's where the vertical slice comes in. We create something that's presentable right now, so we don't have to wait to show off the game, you know, a year or two later. And that's what the Perfect Dark demo was. And it looked really nice. It had good ideas. My understanding is that the reason why Microsoft is cutting these studios, and it's I mean they killed the whole studio for Perfect Dark. The initiative is done. They're dead, right? But the reason why they're doing this is not because Xbox isn't profitable or because they're not doing well. The reason why is because Microsoft is going through some headaches right now with OpenAI. Because remember, Microsoft doesn't only do video games, right? So they're going through this. They're going through this. They're going through this. These sort of issues where they have like exclusivity with OpenAI, and then they invested a bunch of money into OpenAI, and the exclusivity was kind of like OpenAI saying, okay, we'll give you this in return. And OpenAI is now grown to be really big, and they don't want to have Microsoft kind of holding them back anymore. They want to do business with everybody else, and they've already kind of taken steps towards doing that. Like Microsoft doesn't have full exclusivity anymore, but OpenAI wants to take it a step further, right? And Microsoft is now caught sort of, you know, in a crosshairs of this, and it's putting their dependency and their ability to do good with AI. is based off of their partnership with OpenAI. And if they lose their partnership with OpenAI, they're in big trouble, right? That's what investors think. So Microsoft right now feels like they have to make a big investment into AI to be able to kind of protect itself in the future, since AI is such an important piece of technology, and they believe a very important piece of economic success in the future. So it's not really that these studios didn't do good; it's that Microsoft is kind of in some ways struggling elsewhere, and they're diverting investment that would have gone into Xbox and these studios, and they're moving it towards investing in AI. And I know that's not going to make gamers happy. AI is kind of a buzzword these days, and a lot of people aren't really happy about that. But it's actually that's what's going on. It's a real shame, man. I'm really upset about losing Perfect Dark.
Dark in the Initiative, or Rare with Everwild, or a new live service game from ZeniMax Online Studios? I don't think so. And that's not me trying to be cold or mean. I know we're talking about people's lives here, but this is the standard Xbox has set, and they have created an air of hopelessness around their brand that's permeated between both fans and developers now, which we'll talk about. One such example is a piece here from Windows Central Gaming titled, Xbox says all their games shown in the 2025 showcase are still coming. But why should we believe them? This is from
Yeah.
Cole Martin. And I look at that and go,
Yeah, and it's so true, man. They showed off. When Perfect Dark started being worked on? 2018. That's when they started building the studio. 2018. It's now 2025. The game's nowhere near in sight. And it wasn't going to launch this year, right? So if Perfect Dark launched next year, which probably would have been when it would have launched, and that's when I expected it to launch. If it would have launched next year, that means that the game would have been in development for 8 years. Now, to be fair to the initiative, 2018 was kind of when they were getting like the whole studio was being built from the ground up at that point. So, it's not really fair to say they were working on the game in 2018, you know? But, even if it was 2019, it's still is 7 years. It's a long time to make a video game. So it's understandable. It's just really unfortunate.
dude, the showcase just happened last month. Like, that's how bad things are. We're talking about something we saw a month ago going, is any of that real? Because Xbox leadership has talked out of both sides of their mouths for years, and we have so many receipts. We have developers like Rafael Colantonio, as well as members of Larian, talking about how Game Pass is not sustainable for this industry. The business model is clearly bottoming out.
The problem with this is that we've had a lot of game developers come out and say, hey, Game Pass isn't sustainable. Game Pass is not profitable. Then Microsoft comes out and says, Game Pass is profitable. And we just had that recent issue with somebody claiming that Xbox is that Game Pass isn't actually profitable because like the actual investment into the games that are being made for Game Pass is not accounted for in the math equation that Microsoft is using to determine whether Game Pass is profitable or not, right? Because Xbox is making games and putting those games day one on Game Pass, right? So like the idea is like they should account for the fact that these games are going to lose sales due to Game Pass. It's like its own ecosystem, right? So they should go together. And then Microsoft comes out and says, or like I think it was a Microsoft rep that came out and said, actually, no, we do account for all that, and it's actually all part of the equation. So this was all just a bunch of BS. And it's like, but gamers are so hungry to hear that Game Pass is a failure because they don't like the fact that Game Pass is this Netflix of gaming type thing, and they think that it's a bad thing, and they just fear a future where Game Pass is the only thing and you can't buy your games anymore, and that's understandable. But in the here and now, Game Pass is pretty good. It's a pretty good thing. It's affordable, especially Game Pass PC. Like if you don't like it, don't buy it. We don't have to make things up about it, at least.
And there are developers such as Romero Games that were working directly with Xbox, getting funded by Xbox, that have new information to share with us thanks to the Journal here, where they write, speaking to the Journal, one anonymous Romero Games staff member described the situation as a, quote, big shock, end quote, and then said everyone is out of a job. The next one, though, is the real kicker. They say, quote, we had meetings with the publisher, aka Xbox, the day before this happened. There was no mention of it.
Yeah, and that's usually how these things go. They don't want to let people know. And so the thing about the Romero game is that it is apparently being saved. There are some other publishers that are looking into it, and apparently they like what they're seeing. So it looks like the Romero game may actually get a publisher and may be completed, which is great news. I wish that the same could have been said for Perfect Dark.
End quote. Now, fortunately, it seems like they are still trying to find ways to fund the project, they say here in this next quote, but for now, they are sadly completely closed and the studio is closed. So, in a day and age where finding funding, take it from
they're
me,
not
someone who is
closed.
pitching their game
That
right
was
now, is tough. Yeah, like I wish
that
them
was
the
not true.
best of luck. It's really tough out there. These companies, I can just say, are crunching you hard and want absolute guarantees with as little investment as possible. And I'm an indie dev. Our budget's not crazy at all. So yeah, best of luck to Romero Games. But look at that. You met with them the day before, and you didn't have the guts to tell them what was going on.
Yeah, it's like the same
Shame
thing that
on
happened
you.
with Sony
Seriously, like,
when Jim Ryan was
shame
there.
on you all day. The defense I've seen being run for Xbox leadership right now is that, well, they're just taking marching orders from Satya Nadella and Amy Hood. They don't really have a say in it all. And first off,
And it is kind of true. Like at the end of the day, this is Satya's company, and Amy is making those cutbacks because she's the chief financial officer, and Xbox is just a subdivision of Microsoft. They aren't the big thing. This isn't like Facebook where like Zuckerberg runs the whole thing, and Meta is above Facebook and whatever else, but is still run by Zuckerberg. That's not the case here. Satya Nadella runs the company, right? He is the CEO, and he is a very, I would say, he is a very somebody who is very decorated. He's done very good for the company, and he's turned it around and made it basically one of the richest companies in the world. So like top 20 and higher. So like it's really hard to say no to Satya, right? Um, and if Satya doesn't think that gaming is as important as AI, because right now they need those resources for AI, and they feel that they're in trouble in their AI part of the business, then I can absolutely see, Phil Spencer saying, "Hey, actually, but we want that money," and Satya saying, "Too bad. I run the show. It is what it is, man."
spare me that, because we're really trying to act like Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and Matt Booty aren't shot callers of any kind in their own division.
They are shot callers, but they're not the big boss. Like Phil Spencer is the boss of I forget her name. He just said her name, but the lady over here on the right, and Satya is the boss of Phil Spencer, right? And the way that it goes is that Phil, this lady has to yield to Phil, and Phil has to yield to Satya. That's just how it goes.
Get there's a level of like they have to fall in line, they're shareholders, they have to
Absolutely.
oblige. I get all of that, but you're acting like these people are totally defenseless. They're just being told, "Hey, robot, do this," and Phil's going out and doing that. Because whether you like it or not, whether you understand it or not, Xbox is very much in line with Microsoft's vision, and that is AI, as I'll indicate in a little bit here. Today, we're talking about a report.
Yes. But here's the thing, and here's the background on this. So there was a time, pre Game Pass, where Satya was looking at the business, and he was looking at Xbox, and he's just looking at this, and he's like, why are we doing this? This has no synergy with the rest of the company. We are a software and services company. And one of the things that Satya has done is really take Microsoft and really made them become a services company where they're charging routinely for subscriptions and things like that for all of their customers, right? And Xbox doesn't have a lot of that. It was primarily making its money, from like, microtransactions and premium game purchases and stuff like that. And then they were selling a console, and the console is being sold at a loss, right? They're not even making money on the console loss. I mean, the console sale. And Satya's looking at this, and he's like, "Why are we doing this? It's not even making much money. We're putting all this money into this. Let's just sell it. I want to sell it." And then Phil Spencer comes in, and he says, "Actually, wait, hold on. I have a plan, right? I can increase the synergy, and I can make sure that Xbox follows the direction of the rest of the company. And the way that we're going to do that is by selling a service." And by the way, I know some people are probably thinking to themselves, Xbox had Xbox Live, right? You know, they had it was basically just Xbox Live, right? That was their only subscription. So they had a subscription, but it wasn't a big enough business. Um, and you know, Phil says, what if we have an additional subscription, an additional service, and we're going to be focused on our business being service based with something called a Game Pass, a catalog of games that you sell, right? You sell a subscription, gamers get access to the entire catalog, just like Netflix. Netflix for games. And that's what saved Xbox from being sold. That's what granted Phil the money that he got to be able to buy Obsidian and to be able to buy, Playground Games and all these other companies that they purchased around 2018. Double Fine was another one. Undead Labs, the guys that make the zombie game. I forget the game. I forget the name of the game. It's something Dead 2. I forget the name of the game. And that's how they got the money to do that. So Xbox was on the chopping block. Satya didn't want anything to do with this business. They were going to sell it and get rid of it because it didn't have synergy with the rest of Microsoft. It was like some weird black sheep. It just didn't fit in. And it wasn't that profitable. It wasn't making that much money. Why waste our energy on that? And Phil comes in and says, I will make it synergize. And we will follow this whole services thing, and Xbox will become a services thing, right? And we will extend Xbox so it has a wider audience of people, not just the people that are in the console. That's what sold Satya, right? And if that hadn't happened, Xbox would have been either it would have been dissolved or would have been sold.
From Seattle Times, which gives us a why to what happened last week with all of the layoffs across Microsoft. It's an $80 billion investment in AI infrastructure. How about that for your video game villain dystopian ass shit? It's an AI infrastructure investment that caused all these layoffs.
Yep.
I can't wait to say my piece. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're new here and you're into what's going on with Xbox, I guess we're here until they end up being called Microsoft Gaming, because at that point I'm out. But until then, consider subscribing. All right, so the post from Seattle Times is titled, Microsoft to lay off about 9,000 employees in latest round. Skipping down through a lot of their article where they highlight just how much Microsoft has laid off, they write, AI costs balloon. As Microsoft cuts corporate ranks, the company is investing heavily in artificial intelligence. Microsoft's push into AI doesn't mean the company is replacing workers with the technology. Rather, the significant cost of building out the infrastructure over multiple years has Microsoft looking to trim.
And by the way, if you don't know, AI is now one of those things that it is extremely infrastructure heavy. There's so much work. Essentially, what you're doing is you're grabbing a computer, like imagine like a home computer, like a desktop computer or a laptop, right? And you're connecting that laptop to another laptop. And then you're connecting that laptop to another laptop and another laptop and another laptop and then hundreds of laptops and then thousands of laptops. And we call that a data center, right? That's what they're building out. That network of laptops or desktop computers or whatever, we call those servers, right? That network of servers is what's running the AI systems. And AI, machine learning, neural networks, so on and so forth, they require a lot of compute power. So they need a lot of servers, a lot of GPUs in those servers to be able to run something like ChatGPT. And so right now, the idea is that the more compute, in other words, the more servers you throw at it, and the more powerful the servers that you're throwing at it, the better the AI. So the more money you invest, the better your product is going to be. There is no roof right now. So Microsoft is investing $80 million. I'm sorry, $80 billion into making these huge data centers that are going to have tons and tons of servers. And all of it's going to be expensive, and it's going to run super hot, and it's going to consume a lot of power. Some of these data centers have their own, they have to be like separated from the power grid. Because if you connect them to the power grid, the whole power grid is going to go down because they suck that much power, right? So they need to have their own power grid, their own power plant just to power them. And then the cooling wise, they need to have insane, exotic, liquid cooling because they get so hot because you have all of these computers running at the same time. It gets so hot, right? So it's a lot of infrastructure. It's a lot. It's really hard to make them scale. And that's why Microsoft is spending $80 billion in it. They want to get that edge. Will they? Who knows?
Costs where it can. During the company's 2025
So Evelyn, you said no way they run. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
fiscal year, which ended Monday, Microsoft said it planned to spend more than $80 billion on infrastructure to meet AI demands. That's a $25 billion increase in capital expenditures from the company's 2024 fiscal year.
That's crazy.
The roles affected during layoffs in May and June include some that could be changed by AI-driven efficiencies. Software engineers were hit the hardest, with more than 800 laid off in Washington out of the 1,985 initial employees laid off in May. Other heavily represented roles were product and
Interestingly enough, you know how they say, like, in the future, you're going to need, like, because there's going to be AI and all of that. And they tell people, it's like, how am I going to do my job at McDonald's or whatever when Flippy, the little flipper robot, is going to be flipping the burgers instead of me, And they say on Twitter, they say, learn to code. Oddly enough, the people that got fired due to this AI stuff, and obviously it's due to the investment, not because AI is replacing them, but the people that have lost most of the most jobs are the people that were coders. How ironic.
Program manager.
Oh yeah, 80 billion. Yeah, 80 billion. That's a lot. If you remember, Activision Blizzard, when Microsoft Xbox bought Activision Blizzard, the makers of Call of Duty and World of Warcraft and stuff like that, that was, I think that was it was a $68.9 billion acquisition. So yeah, Microsoft spends big money.
Microsoft's prominent AI tools, which can write and debug code, are heralded by leadership. During the developer-focused conference Build, 1 week after May's layoffs, CEO Satya Nadella showed a room of hundreds how he could send AI agents out into the digital world to draft, develop, and fix code with a few directions. Other tech companies are closer to drawing the connection between automated work and the need for fewer employees. And Xbox, as a Microsoft...
Yeah, that's the future that they want. They want these automated AI agents to go around and sort of be an agent that does work autonomously. You tell it, go do this, and it goes, and it just does it. Like a dog. Like you tell it, go fetch, it'll go and fetch it of its own volition, right? And that's the future that they're working towards. And I mean, yeah, it does sound like that sort of stuff is going to take people's jobs if it becomes good enough. It really does.
Brand is 1,000% one of them. And I've been shooting my warning shots all year. It's happened fast, though, so I wouldn't blame you if you thought this was years ago or you even forgot about it. Yeah. We're talking about 2 AI initiatives happening within Xbox's gaming department right now. One is Copilot for gaming, one that I find very dangerous to the overall gaming experience if left unchecked. What's effectively happening here are 2 such examples. One is, let's say you're playing Overwatch and you don't know what hero to play. Instead of playing a hero shooter, like, I'm going to experiment around the roster, see what role works for me, what character feels best for me.
It'll give you a recommendation.
Instead, you can ask your AI overlords to sit here and tell you what exactly would work well in counter to your opponents, what you've done well with on what maps before, and it'll give you a nice assessment and you'll pick your hero based off that.
Yeah. It's like asking ChatGPT. Yeah.
Well, look, I know it's been a lot of negative news lately, and if you're struggling to continuously hear that negative news, I've got a couple of prompts for you that you could throw into ChatGPT or Copilot, and that's thanks to Matt Turnbull of Xbox Game Studios. I don't know why he deleted this LinkedIn post, but some of this I found so helpful. I could tell ChatGPT.
This guy got in so much trouble for this. He's like telling coworkers, like, hey, did you lose your job due to AI? Well, here's a good idea. What if you use our AI to make you feel better about losing your job? Right? Like, people are thinking, like, man, that is so tone deaf. And to be fair, if you read what he said, I mean, that is kind of true. You could ask the AI, hey, what are some good, like, ways to help me take care of my mental health from losing a job, right? Like, yeah, but it's kind of like, I can see he should also see how that's going to piss people off, especially once people find out that the reason they lost their jobs is because of AI investment.
Act as a career coach. I've been laid off from a role in the video game industry. Help me build a 30-day plan to regroup, research new roles, and start applying without burning out. Yeah, man, I fucking love that. Oh, hey, wait, resume help. Here's my current resume. Give me 3 tailored versions, one for AAA, one for platform and publishing roles, and one for startup/small studio leadership roles. Fuck yeah, dude, I'm feeling great already. Here's another one for you. I'm struggling with imposter syndrome after being laid off. Can you help me reframe this experience in a way that reminds me of what I am good at? Oh, I just feel so much better watching
Yeah,
work.
remind me what I'm good at because I can't remember. Yeah, yeah. Don't cry over us. User company tissues.
Words float up on screen that are scraped off the internet to tell me what I am good at. Man, fuck being laid off. Who gives a shit anymore? This is great. And I was thinking, since Matt had suggestions for everyone after going through such like life-changing events, just hey, go put in these prompts. These will help out a lot. Since his head is so far up the ass of ChatGPT,
I love this game.
I thought to
System
myself,
Shock 2.
I would make a suggestion, dude. See a fucking therapist if your emotional capability is this low that, oh wow, look, thousands of people are getting laid off. Lives are changing. Homes are being destabilized, all in the name of an $80 billion investment. Oh, I got just the idea. I'll give them prompts. Dude, if that is all you are capable of, you need to go talk to someone. I'm sorry. That is my advice to you. Go speak to someone. Go at least reflect with a loved one and figure out how to actually console people when they're struggling. Now, look, I know I sound doom and gloom with AI. I'll get into why I think it can be a positive in the tool department and why other developers even think as much. But when it comes to what Xbox is doing here, to me, that dampens the experience the player can have. Granted, they did say in their Copilot for Gaming presentation that this is a switch that can be turned off, and I think that's great and all, but the idea was also that Xbox said this would be like a hands-off sort of thing. They're not going to force it into all of their studios. And if you think after an $80 billion investment in AI infrastructure and trying to be the lead AI company on the planet.
Yeah, and Microsoft recently had a thing. I was reading a news article about, and I don't think this was for the Xbox division, but it was for a certain part of Microsoft that Microsoft wanted employees to use Copilot, their AI assistant, for coding assistance and stuff like that at work. And workers didn't want to do it. They're like, oh, we don't want to do it. I don't know. I just don't like AI, or I don't know. I don't think it's good. Whatever the reason, they weren't doing it. And eventually, Microsoft. This happened just recently. Microsoft got tired of it and said, actually, now it's required. Because Microsoft wanted to get more data from their workers about making Copilot good, but their workers weren't using Copilot, so they couldn't get any data to make it better, right? So Microsoft thought to itself, well, if people aren't gonna, if they're not gonna use it, if they're not gonna give us their data, let's just force them to, right? And I think that eventually Xbox, the Xbox division of Microsoft, might do the same thing. I mean, they've already done it somewhere else. I could definitely see it happening. These tools might not always be optional.
Right? Like, this is the same rush to the internet that Google won out in, right? This is what Microsoft's trying to win out in. Can we win the AI race? Can we be the Google of the AI race? Can
That's
we
exactly
do that?
it.
If we can, the amount of money, power, dominance that comes with that is insurmountable, right? So obviously they want to put all their chips on the table to win this next gold.
And the other thing is that this is something that a lot of people don't understand about AI, is that AI is not just like, it's not an Xbox, it's not a PlayStation, it's not something they use for their hobby, it's not like a search engine or anything like that, which is useful, and you can use it for productive reasons. But AI is two things that I think people haven't really wrapped their heads around. One, it's a national security issue. AI is a weapon of intelligence, right? And it's very important for countries to have the strongest weapon, just like as we saw with the atomic bomb and so on and so forth, right? So countries are now in an arms race for AI capabilities, because AI is going to be the weapon of the future in many ways, including, like, you know, like you already heard some of the stuff, like being able to send out AI agents that do work for you. Well, maybe those AI agents can do work for you versus another country, right? Like, what if you could send out an AI agent to go in and do basic hacking and hack like Russia or something like that, hack certain parts of the, you know, Russian government database or something like that, right? What if you can use AI? What if AI is really good at managing drones, right? And so it's this sort of stuff. What if AI helps us make better military decisions, right? All of that. And then the other aspect is that something that people aren't really thinking about a lot is the aspect of, you know, an autonomous entity. Is that AI could be another entity if it becomes intelligent enough. It can become another entity like any other animal, like a tiger, like another human being that can make decisions autonomously by itself. And because it has a degree of intelligence, and we are even seeking for it to have human level intelligence and super intelligence, which is beyond human level intelligence, this thing could go out into the world and with super intelligence make decisions that are better than us and completely outperform us, maybe even as a species, right? Like it could wipe us out. It could be some Skynet level shit, right? And I'm not saying that's what it's going to be. I'm just saying that something that powerful, countries are going to want to control that. The United States, China, the EU, they're going to want to get in on that. And so it's very important. The EU doesn't care about PlayStations, right? It's like they're not going to use PlayStation 5s for, like, you know, military combat or something like that. But AI is something completely different. Some people talk about like the atomic bomb. The atomic bomb was a scary weapon. Well, let me point out how AI is something completely different. The atomic bomb couldn't get up by itself and go in and go bomb somebody. It couldn't decide by itself who it wants to bomb. It couldn't weigh different options of when it would be best to bomb, what time, you know, what region, what would give the most effect, run calculations, and come up with a, you know, with a coherent conclusion. It can't do any of that because every tool that we have made so far has been a dumb tool. It doesn't think for itself. It's not like another entity that can process information autonomously and decide. AI is all about doing things by itself, getting it to do, like, again, be an intelligent entity, like a human, but artificial. And so an AI bomb could theoretically decide who it wants to bomb, when it wants to bomb them, how it wants to go about it, and go about it autonomously, automatically by itself. That's what makes AI so just groundbreaking and scary. It's not just another atomic bomb. It's something on a whole nother level. Thankfully, AI is not at that level now where it can make decisions like that on that level. But we're not going to stop here, are we? No, we're going to take this to its logical conclusion. Let's just hope that the logical conclusion is a positive one. Yeah, why not Ia? That's the real question. What do you mean by Ia? But yeah.
Rush. That includes their gaming division absolutely investing heavily in building out and testing their AI tools. Now,
AI, you mean AI instead of IA?
Now, also the other thing Copilot for Gaming does, a cool quality of life enhancement, is like, hey, you've been playing Age of Empires 4 for a while, you stopped playing it, you went to a couple other games, you come back to it, you can ask Copilot for Gaming, like, where did I leave off last? What was happening last? And it'll give you a summary of that.
That's
that
crazy.
Stuff is great. That stuff is cool. I think that stuff is
I mean, sure, yeah.
player, especially when there's so much content coming out.
One thing I want to say real quick is that something that people forget about AI is that they're wrong. They're not always right. They do this thing called hallucination where they just make up information and confidently proclaim that information is the actual answer. Right? That's hallucination. And there's a lot of people, this is a worrying trend. There's a lot of people out there who are using AI, ChatGPT, all these different AI models, and they're using them to replace Google now. And like they don't understand that like the answer that the AI may give them may be completely wrong because they hallucinated the whole thing. And that's scary because like people are educating themselves with something that is very unreliable potentially. You always want to, when you use AI, you always want to double check your answers. But the idea of double checking, it's like, well, if you double check it, it's going to take you longer, and then maybe it's not as efficient to use AI, right? Maybe it's just better to just Google it. So I feel like people aren't going to really double check it because they're going to be lazy about it. Esports. Oh, okay. It can now use Russian nuclear bomb can destroy its own country automatically. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Stuff like that, where it can make decisions by itself. That's what makes it so scary.
Have more thoughts on though, and the one that you should really be keeping your eyes on, and the one that Xbox did try to say like, oh, we're going to propose the option to our first party studios. I think that's going to be a mandate very soon, especially again,
Yeah.
you can't believe what you read or hear from anyone with an Xbox, but here they talk about Muse, a generative AI model for gameplay. Look, there's no denying that every job imaginable is going to have AI involved in
Mm-hmm.
one way or another. That is inevitable, and I do think there's a level of like fighting against it is kind of just digging your heels in the sand. And it's not all awful evil villain type.
By the way, if you don't know what game that is, that Muse is playing, that's Ninja Theory's Bleeding Edge. That sort of like Overwatch like game that came out that was like kind of more melee based, and it just died instantly. Like you can still go play the game because Microsoft didn't kill the servers, so that's cool. That's cool of them. But I think they didn't kill the servers. I think you can still go and play it. It's still on Game Pass. But Muse is essentially coming up. This AI Muse is essentially coming up with. It's trained on this game, Bleeding Edge, and once it's trained on the game, you can theoretically go and tell it, okay, so Bleeding Edge doesn't have any snow levels. I'm just making this up. I don't know if it does, but Bleeding Edge doesn't have any snow levels. We want to see what it would look like if we would make a snow level for Bleeding Edge, right? And the AI will then, just like any AI, it will then try, just like ChatGPT making up an image from what you tell it. It will then try to make a video like this showing what a snow level on uh, Bleeding Edge would look like. And that's crazy, but that's kind of what they want to design it for. It's like, oh, instead of having to build that snow level so you can see what the snow level would look like, you just train an AI on your game or your pre-game assets or whatever, and then you can just go to it and tell it, hey, well, what about a lava world? What about okay, so there's no triple jumping in Killing Edge. I mean, in Bleeding Edge. What if we added a triple jump? How would that look like? And then it would do it, and that's the utility of it. The problem is that you have to train it. Right now, obviously, as you can see, I think the games run at something like 240p or like 140p, so it's super low resolution because like the technology just isn't there yet for high resolution stuff like this. And the other aspect of it is that it takes a long time to train. And the other aspect of it is that killing Bleeding Edge was already a fully developed game that it got trained on. It wasn't a game that's like, oh, we just started making this game and whatever. So like, so it's kind of like this weird thing of like, I mean, maybe it works really good for Bleeding Edge, but Bleeding Edge was already fully developed. How would this actually look like for a game that's being currently made, right? And that's kind of like, is there even enough data to train it on? So these are the questions to be asked. A lot of people got upset about this Muse thing. Some developers got mad at it because they're like they don't want anything to do with AI. Some of them don't, but you can see how there's some utility to this. But yeah, Microsoft is all in on this.
Shit. Like I mentioned earlier, I think the whole save recap, where did I leave off last time, is great usage of AI that enhances your gaming experience, lets you kind of flow from experience to experience and catch up whenever you need to. Where I really get my backup about AI is when it goes from tool to replacement. The games industry, and this does not really need to be stated unless you're a Microsoft executive, flourishes off of creative energy. That needs to be valued more than anything. Xbox, as I've indicated many times with the amount of talent they've let go from, say, Bethesda and a Shinji Mikami, a Harvey Smith, Pete Hines, and the list goes on, John Johannes, like, they lost so much incredible talent.
Pete Hines wasn't a creative though. He was just like a PR guy. He was the guy that basically handled the Twitter, you know? Like he was a PR guy, public relations.
clearly they don't know what the value of having good creative talent is, creative visionaries is. And I'm not saying necessarily that Xbox is taking Harvey Smith out of the picture so they can put Muse in his spot, but this is not a brand that is innocent within the whole Microsoft AI investment phase. This is a company that is in the same year.
You can see how ugly this Muse stuff looks.
Copilot
it's
for
so low
gaming,
resolution.
in beta. Here's Muse. Our developers are using it across our entire first party. Like, they announced Muse alongside Ninja Theory, which was supposed to be one of their more like prolific prestige piece studios that's making these hardcore single player experiences, and like they're the advocates for generative AI content in video games. Again, I'm all for it as a tool, removing the grindy, crunchy parts of development. But as Microsoft tries to slim its workforce and replace it with AI in tech-focused jobs, I mean, that's a lot of what game development is. Technology.
They haven't really done that though. Like, the layoffs have not been about AI. The layoffs have been about the COVID boom. During the COVID boom, there was a big hiring spree. A lot of people were staying home. A lot of people were gaming a lot. The gaming industry started making more money than ever. And then all of a sudden, companies are like, "Oh, we need to staff up. We need to hire all these people because now we got all these gamers, and we want to make more games and more content for them." And then what happened? COVID ended. Around like late 2022. And by 2023, you started having all these crazy layoffs, and we're still going through that. Where companies are trying to downsize because there just isn't as many gamers, there isn't as much game consumption as there was during the COVID years. Because COVID's gone. Well, I mean, COVID is taken care of, essentially. And now, this is not due to AI, it's due to investment being taken away from Xbox, i.e. money that was going to fund Xbox and fund these games is being taken away and being moved to AI infrastructure investment. So it's not that these people are losing their jobs to AI. They're just losing their jobs, period. Their jobs aren't being replaced by AI. Nobody's coming in. Nobody's going to. It's not like the initiative that was making Perfect Dark is like, I think they had something like 50 employees. And it's not like, oh, those 50 employees at the initiative got all replaced with 50 AI agents. No. What happened is that Microsoft killed and destroyed, completely shuttered the whole studio. There are no 50 in the initiative employees. Nobody's working on Perfect Dark. Not AI, not anybody. And that's exactly what's going on for everything else.
Right? And so when you start to see the potential of that.
You missed COVID? I mean, I kind of feel bad for young people during COVID that like missed out like their high school years and stuff like that, or even elementary years because they were stuck at home. But yeah, I mean, COVID was cool. I had a significant other at the time, and like me and her, we spent a lot of time during COVID because she didn't have to go to work. Since her job was the type of job that she couldn't get a permit to be able to go out. It was nice in some ways, but it was also, man, it sucked. And people killing themselves over like toilet paper and stuff like that. It was also very wacky. Yeah, that was some good times. Netflix, games, anime, no job. True. Yeah. It reminds me of when I was a kid and there would be like a natural disaster and it's like, oh, we have no school now. This is great. It basically was that.
That being trimmed down, and you lose creative individuals just to slim down the budget some more. Gaming as a whole will no doubt suffer. I mean, what can you say at this point? You have fans who have lost hope. Developers who are working with you have clearly lost hope. I
mean, X Bros, which are like people that like were like big fanboys of Xbox and thought that Xbox was gonna make a comeback and like beat PlayStation, and Xbox was gonna be the only place to game, and it was all about the Xbox console. Those guys are on. They're on suicide watch. Like, man, all their games have been put on PC, which is, I think it's a good thing. Games should be everywhere, in my opinion. Now their games are being put on PlayStation. Their studios are being closed down. It is not a good time to be an Xbox fan.
In my personal experience, I can only speak for myself. For those who don't know, I don't get inside information almost ever. And that's fine. I don't operate off of it. I like to just be a fan of gaming and not know what's coming. I think it gives the most authentic reaction you can get nowadays when it comes to like everyone being in the know. So I prefer to not be in the know. But my God, the amount of employees across Xbox, Activision, ZeniMax Online Studios, the initiative that reached out to me anonymously and was like, I'm here to vent. I'm here to pop off. I'm here to share stuff.
Oh,
that
yeah, I
has
believe
never
it.
happened to me before. Okay? But when you combine that with public-facing figures in gaming turning their back on Game Pass, talking openly and critically about Xbox leadership,
There's people that have been like critical of Game Pass for years now, and the way that it is that there's some devs that come out and they're critical of Game Pass, and there's some devs that come out and they're very happy with Game Pass. And just putting everything together, to me, it looks like there's some games that just succeed on Game Pass and get good deals, and there's some games that just flop on Game Pass, and it's not a good idea for them to. It didn't. In hindsight, it didn't turn out to be a good idea. So I think this is not something that you just listen to one side. I think it's more like Game Pass probably works for some devs and it probably doesn't work for others. It is not a unanimously bad thing and it's not a unanimously good thing.
Microsoft shareholders and Microsoft leadership, like everyone has turned their back on the Xbox brand. There is no wait, let's turn the page on this all. I can understand last year after the multi-platform pivot, and then unfortunately right after that, it's like boom, now we have a bunch of studio closures. People just want to move on from all that mess. Let's turn the page. Let's see what this new, slimmed down, more efficient Xbox has up its sleeve. And you see they make a lot of money. Console sales are still going down, though. Recommit to console production, though. Okay, looks like this is going to be the new Xbox. And then they step on a rake, as they always do. But when the rake is an $80 billion investment in AI infrastructure, I understand the sympathy that Xbox leadership might be a victim of the process.
See, but this is what I was going to say. This guy has such a problem with Xbox and he keeps blaming Xbox. Like at the end of the day, Xbox doesn't have any control over spending that the Azure side of Microsoft is doing on AI. Azure is way more important. It has way more say than Xbox. Azure makes way more money than Xbox. They are the breadwinners. It's like they're like Germany in the EU. It's like California in the US. Like they have so much say because they're so big. Right? And so I mean, you can sit here and you can complain about Rhode Island or something and how, oh man, Rhode Island this and that, but at the end of the day, Rhode Island doesn't have as much say and they can't really decide some of these things. You know? This is really this guy has a problem with Microsoft, not Xbox. Because Xbox has no say here about whether they can keep those funds or not. This is Satya's world.
Says, but please stop acting like they are not shot callers in any of this. They are not complete victims in any of this, especially when their own initiative has greenlit 2 massive AI gaming tools for development, one of which is no doubt going to be mandated for their own developers. Again, people need to stop treating Xbox, after the whole ABK acquisition, like they're not the little toy on the side that, oh, they can kind of get away with like tucking music away and be like, yeah, Satya, we'll use it. Right. Now it's going to be like, hey, we're trying to advance with AI and test these systems. We want to be the leader in AI. Like, how are things going? Are your teams using it? Like, we want to use them for research, basically. It's insane. It's so dystopian. Fortunately, there are developers that I think get it, like Swen Vink. He talked to GameSpot.
That's the Larian CEO.
Future, but in it, he also talked about AI content, and he defined it as a creative aid.
They made Baldur's Gate 3.
The quote he used was, I think that it's an age-old truth. If you give a developer 2 years, they'll take 3. So the same thing will be the case here with what you're going to give them in terms of ability to do stuff. If they have the ability to do things faster, they'll just do more, which is actually what you want.
Yeah.
Also, that's why I think it will improve the state of the art in the terms of games that we're going to see. You're going to see more and more things, but they will be used in creative ways that we haven't even imagined yet, end quote. This is the problem, is that a lot of people think AI is designed to streamline, but in a creative field, it's just going to enable people to think about things differently and just reach new heights. It's going to be useful for indie developers to kind of creep up to, is that AA? Is that AAA? Or small teams producing?
Yeah, we already have this thing.
Unbelievable.
Like the crazy stuff that AA games have been making. Like look at Expedition 33. That game is crazy. Like, and it is so successful, and it's so well made, and it was only made by like 30 people. You know, there's a lot of examples of games like that that are really like they just punch way above their weight. And that's thanks to, stuff like Unreal Engine making it way easier for people to develop games, and not need as many specialists and as many like, expensive people to like help build the game for you. uh, and so I think that AI is going to do the same thing. It's going to make it even easier for people to like punch above their weight.
Scale. I think the future of game development, in my experience, is remote studios or teams that are not in the West. And those teams are going to be using things like AI to kind of help get themselves closer to that mark of quality where people can't tell the difference of if it's a small team or not. And to me, I think as an independent, that's probably the dream. You want
Do you know if there's a game where you can make a partner in a mission and the partner is AI, so you can have a relationship with her and you can do tons of stuff? Um, there might be some mods for games. I know some mods for games have like AI and stuff, but it's pretty unreliable. But I don't know of any game where you can have like an actual like it's like machine learning AI or anything like that. I don't know if there's any game. There's games where you can have like uh like there's games where you can have like there's like dating sim elements. Like Persona has dating sim elements, but you can't make your own partner. You can't create a partner and then, date them and or do stuff with them. you know. So I don't know. That's a good question though. That's actually sounds like a cool game concept.
to be able to compete and get that AAA feel behind your game, even though the cost, the uplift of your studio is like 15 people. Again, I think Swen puts it perfectly. It's an aid, not a time saver, though. And I think if I were to wager a guess based on where Xbox is right now and the slimming of their workforce and how Microsoft is so pro AI, they want to become the Google of the internet for AI. They want to have
Yeah.
that dominance. And I think what comes alongside that is saving a lot of time, especially in game development. We hear how AI is sourced as a potential time saving method, but developers are crazy. They're artists. You think you're going to give them, as I've said many times before, more tools and they're going to do less with it? What self respecting artist does that? No one, right? Or at least the ones who are good, the ones who care about what they're working on, they put in their absolute best to be a part of that success. You earn your keep. So, yeah, I don't need to rant and rave. I can get off my soapbox now, but it just pissed me off something fierce when I learned how, oh, it's an $80 billion AI investment that caused all of this. Okay, and oh, Xbox leadership are victims and all this. Give me a break. Give me a break. I just, come on. I just, again, I get the whole wanting to turn the page
I mean,
energy.
so if Satya shows up and says, "Hey, we need this money," and Amy Hood, who's the chief financial officer, says, "We're diverting this money from Xbox and other places in Microsoft, Windows, and everything, all sorts of parts of Microsoft lost people, so they could divert this money essentially to Azure." So, like, if Satya shows up and he's like, "Hey, we're doing this," Amy Hood shows up and says, "Hey, we're doing this," what is Phil Spencer supposed to do? Is he gonna say no? And if he says no, what is he gonna do? Like Satya just fire him, right? Like you can't just say no. Like all Phil could do is just leave the job, and nobody's gonna do that. You're not gonna leave the job just because you disagree. I'm not saying Phil's an angel, obviously, but like this is one of those situations where he doesn't have the final say. He is not the mafia boss here. Satya is.
As someone who is very positive themselves, glass half full, yes, I totally hear you. But this has got to be like foot on the throat energy because right now there has to be accountability. If it's not going to be internally with, certain executives actually being held accountable, it has to come from the fans. It has to come from us and being like, we can't trust anything you say. We can't take you seriously. And I don't think that's a good way to have a brand operating if everyone just kind of shrugs off anything their leaders say. Like, yeah, maybe that happens, but I don't believe you. It's not even being antagonistic. It's not even trying to be cold. It's like, this is the reality. You guys change your minds every couple of months. So
That's true.
why should I believe anything you have to say? And until there's change, I don't think I'll feel any differently. We'll see you in due time, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know your thoughts down below on this investment by Microsoft, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.
That was a pretty good
There is an
video.
air of hopelessness around Xbox that is quite different from any other hopelessness we've
Did
experienced
it
with this brand
did it
before.
just
And I'm even talking
restart? Why did that happen?
preview. It's not even being a couple of months differently. We'll see you in due time, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know your thoughts down below on
It just
this investment by
restarted.
Microsoft. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace. There is an air.
Oh, it just restarts by itself. I never seen that happen. So yeah, that was a pretty good video by Mr. Matty Plays. Good stuff. Give him a subscribe there. And yeah. Yeah. So that, I mean, he made some really good points there. You've seen it on YouTube. Yeah, it was a Persona game, like roleplay. So this is a game that you've seen. I don't know. I mean, if it's like Persona, there's one game that's sort of like Persona that's made by the Persona people. It's called what is it called? Metaphor. It's called Metaphor Refantasio or Refantasio. And it's a pretty good game. It's just like Persona. It has all the Persona stuff in it. It's just kind of set in a medieval setting. But I don't know. I don't know. I would have to refresh my memory because I know about a lot of games. I just nothing's really coming up here where you can make your own partner, and the partner is an AI, and you can have a relationship with the partner. Don't know. Was it a Japanese game?
Around X.
Yeah. So that was a pretty good video by Mr. Matty Plays. And I think he made a lot of good points, and he is absolutely right that Xbox has been changing their minds like every 2 months. They'll say, "Oh, we're not doing this," and then they go and do it, or they'll say, "We're not going to do that," and then they go and do it. You know, and it's just it's a lot. People are just you cry wolf so many times, people are not going to take you seriously, and they're not going to listen to you, right? And I think that's the situation where Xbox is at. But I think the reason why they're doing this is literally because that's what's going on at internally. There's a lot of decisions that are just kind of being flipped flopped. And I think part of the reason why is because there's a lot of pressure on Microsoft right now. There's a lot of pressure coming from Microsoft towards the Xbox division, because Microsoft spent 70 billion buying Activision Blizzard. Xbox is now really important. It makes a lot of money. And so because they're important, they need to be watched more carefully, and they need to make sure that the decisions they're doing are optimal, right? Because now whenever Xbox makes a move, it's way more impactful. There's way more weight because now they own Bethesda, now they own Activision Blizzard. They had something like 30 studios now when they used to have 6 before in 2017, right? So it's just, they're so much bigger. There's a big impact in the decisions that they make on the rest of the business, and so they have to make sure that they navigate carefully so they don't drag the rest of Microsoft down. And that's what's going on with Satya and Amy Hood, who are just kind of like clamping down on Xbox and putting in the the eye of Sauron on them. But I do not. There's some things that I do feel he got wrong, like the whole like people are losing their jobs due to AI because AI is replacing them. AI is not replacing them. Not in this case. Not in this case. And I don't think that it obviously. Sometimes people say like the person that really has the who's really the problem is the person at top who's making the decision, that top down decision, because the people that are below them don't have any say, right? But now you're hearing him say the opposite. It's like, oh well, that Xbox is at fault here too. Leadership is at fault, even if the decision came from Satya or from Microsoft. So like, it's like, which is it? Is if you have a boss that overrules you, and he overrules you, or he makes a decision and you have no say in it, is it really your fault? I don't know. I don't think so, right? Because that would mean that even something that like any change in strategy that a CEO does that is now affecting even a janitor is the janitor's fault. I don't think that's true. Janitor didn't make the decision, the CEO did. So yeah, something to think about. I don't think Xbox is in a good place right now. I don't think they're angels. I think they need to get their shit together. But I don't think it's as simple as Matty says in some of these points that he made there. But pretty good video. Let's see. Spoiler: Manny was not in fact done with Xbox. AI should replace Microsoft's executives and investor department. Maybe it will. Honestly, I think if AI gets intelligent enough, it will replace the executives as well. I'm so done with Xbox, man. Proceeds to make a bunch of monetized videos about Xbox. Yeah, I guess so, huh? Keep this energy when they tease a Fallout 3 remake or the skybox of the next Elder Scrolls game. Yeah, I don't know if Maddie is consistent with this stuff. I don't know. I just started watching him. Corporate greed is completely killing my favorite hobby. Yep, a tale as old as time. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you like this video for the YouTubers or for the people at YouTube. And that's that. That's yeah. So it was a Japanese game. If you find it, link it to me because I like games. Um, yeah, Japanese game. It's not a Persona game, but it is sort of like a Persona game. And let me see. Are you sure it's not? Let me. No, no, it's not this. It's not this because you can't make your own character here, your own partner here. Meta or refund time. Yeah, it's not this, is it? Yeah, it's not this. Japanese game. Wanna like game. Persona like game. I watch all this a bunch of Yeah, those games are not it. Those are not new games. I know what games they're talking. And they're not really that much like. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Is it no? But I don't know if you can do that in Fire Emblem. But Fire Emblem is like Fire Emblem Three Houses is a game that's a little bit like Persona. You can have sort of relationships, sort of. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but so let me know if you find it. Is this Persona One? Is that what this is? I never know. I never played that. But yeah, yeah, short stream today. I only watched one video. Um, since I started a little bit late, an hour late. But yeah, I don't wanna keep the streams too long because I feel like I do wanna like turn these into videos, and if the stream is too long, it's hard to turn into videos. But yeah, yeah, I think I'm gonna stop the stream here. Thanks for watching, Evelyn, and thank you, Zoe, for everything. And I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for hanging out and listening to me babble for an hour and a half or whatever it was. No, it's all good. He didn't have to do anything, Zoe. It was just us here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be hopping off now. I think this is around the time I want to be hopping off. I don't know what time it is at you guys' place, but over here it's a bit late. Um, but yeah, thanks for listening, guys. And Evelyn, if you find that game, let me know. Let me know. We'll watch some videos about it and stuff, and I'll check it out. Good night, guys.